Well, let's see. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let me, yeah, let's get it's going to do this thing again, isn't it? I think we got the right one now. Let me see if I've got the right slide showing here. Not
I
quite.
see our beautiful faces.
One more thing. Hey, everybody. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Tuesday night. Welcome to CI Acceleration. Thank you for joining us. My name is Craig Carlton. I'm joined by Dana Burrell, Jenny Nelson, and Stephanie Stiebert. Please say hello, ladies.
Well, hello there,
Craig.
everyone. Welcome. We are so happy to be here tonight and happy to have you.
Awesome.
Thank you for having us, Craig.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to have a nice conversation tonight. Before we get started, just check in. Where are you calling in from tonight? So, because I want everybody also to tell us where they're from tonight. So, where are you ladies coming from tonight?
Awesome. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Awesome.
Tonight I'm in Canton, Georgia.
Awesome. Stephanie.
I am in Bonita Springs, Florida.
Very cool. Very cool. And I am up here in beautiful Tampa, Florida, just a little north in a city called Wesley Chapel. So my own little suburbia up here. But we'll get started. So the first and foremost, where is everybody from? Let us know where you're from. You know, you could be anywhere tonight. You've chosen to be with us, so we really appreciate that. And it just gives us a sense of, you know, from a geography standpoint, who are we talking to and where are you doing it? What's beautiful about PIN, if you're new to PIN, we're going to show you that it's a nationwide product. If you're not new to PIN and maybe you're coming back for a refresher, we're going to give you some great little tidbits as well. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Tonight's session is called Finding Great Deals. And what we really mean by that is, how do you use PIN to locate property? Now, we're not going to do a deep dive into analyzing properties and making offers and all that amazing stuff, you know, how to talk to them. We're going to cover that over the next several weeks. This week, we're talking about finding great deals. Next week, we're going to look at, once we know how to use PIN, what are we looking at, right? Like, how do you look at a piece of property? How do you use PIN to sort of analyze it to see if it's something that makes a lot of sense? The next week, we're going to be talking about finding the owner and locking up the property. So we're going to get into depth about how do you reach out? What are the different ways to connect with an owner, whether that's like what Dana does with postcards, or Stephanie uses a lot of agent outreach. Jenny's an auction queen and loves working with the pre-foreclosures. So we'll talk about how do you find that owner and then lock up the property. And then the last week, we're going to talk about what are the different ways that you can actually make money in real estate. And there's three primary ones that we're going to talk about. So that'll be our session for tonight, is finding great deals. Now, before we get in to it too deep, there's three things specifically that we're going to chat about. So the first thing is we're going to look at the property search. How do you use PIN to do a property search? And the first part, we're going to focus on the easy mode. Now, that doesn't mean it's like super difficult, the other modes. It just means a simple way to do some searches. We'll show you how to do the easy mode. Then we're also going to look at the advanced mode a little bit later on. My intention will be to go live. We're going to use some PowerPoints and do a little live stuff tonight. Then we're going to talk about how to set some custom alerts so that whenever you have new property that shows up in a specific area of interest, we'll show you where you'll set that up so that every time that happens, you'll get an email that lets you know, hey, you've got some new deals. You need to go search them out. And then the third piece we're going to talk about tonight is the automation. So a lot of folks that are on our call tonight, I know that you have a business and you're looking to maybe scale and you need lots of leads and you need these leads to constantly be funneling. Or maybe you're brand new and you want to understand how automation works. You know, where does it fit in your business? And so we're going to be talking about a product called Zapier and how you can use that to pull data from PIN and export it into any kind of third-party CRM or dialer service or texting service or any number of things. So we'll be talking about that tonight. Awesome. All right. And then one little last piece of housekeeping. I'm not going to bug you ladies. I'll take care of this one. You know, I always ask the question, is it necessary to get legal help? The answer is it's not absolutely necessary when you first start. Is that right, ladies? Would you all agree with that?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. But as you get going, you're probably going to want to talk with a lawyer. Jenny, did you want to say something? It looked like you were itching to say something.
I am just dying because honestly, we had a closing yesterday and I'm telling you what, you better believe we needed an attorney and then some.
Yeah.
It was a creative finance deal with a subject too. So yes, we are experienced. We've been around the block several times, but nonetheless, there's always hiccups. So it's always nice to have an attorney on your side to make sure that your contracts, everything is vetted appropriately. So not necessary, but highly recommended.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally agree. So thank you for that. Thank you, Jenny. And I am going to, I saw a question that just popped up before we got started. Someone said, how can I get access to previous videos? One of you remind me before we end this session tonight, and I'll show everybody the Success Center where you can access all of the previous recordings. So yeah, let's see. So, oh, okay. Well, we got sunny Florida. We've got New Jersey. Oh man, we got Toronto. I think, didn't we have somebody from Australia last week?
We sure did.
I'm telling you, how cool is that? All over the world, they're joining us. I love that. So awesome. All right, well, let's go to the next step. One more thing. I promise you we're going to get started. So a lot of folks that are on our call tonight, I know that you don't have PIN, and we want to extend a special offer to you. So the way that it works is we've got a 7-day trial. And what we've done is we've taken one of those QR codes. So I don't know if you can, how close you are to your screen, but all you got to do is take your camera and open up the picture, like taking a picture, and then put it right over the QR code. I'm actually doing it right now on my screen and it's working. And then what you can do is if you decide at some point, either during this session or later on, and you want to get an opportunity to play with this offer for about 7 days, I would absolutely encourage you to go there and start your free trial today. And if you have PIN, awesome. I'm super excited that you got it. One more thing, I keep saying that. You do not need to have a PIN subscription to access the CI Marketplace and have a free account with access to our Success Center. So even if you don't have PIN, there's going to be some things that I can show you tonight that you'll want to pay attention to. All right, now we're going to get started. All right, so real quickly, if you don't have PIN, type a 1 in the questions. If you do have PIN, type a 2. What this will help us know is where's everybody at. So what did I say? If you don't have it, type a 1. If you do have it, type a 2. Okay, lots of 1s, lots of 2s. So there's a lot of folks that have it. Beautiful. I love that. So there's some that are brand new. Awesome. So we're going to be able to help everybody. I love that. So when you first work with PIN, and I actually want to talk to Dana real quickly. So Dana is someone that you're going to get to know if you come around the CI world at all. She's someone that's been using the software for many years and has had incredible success. Without sort of sounding cheesy and salesy, Dana, what do you love about PIN? What is it about PIN, and why do you use it for your business?
I love everything about PIN because it's the only platform I've ever used, and it's helped me to find the success that I now have today. Being able to find off-market deals at the touch of a button, that has been a game changer for me. Before I joined PIN, I was spinning my wheels. I'd always wanted to get into real estate, but after finding PIN, I was actually able to execute exactly what it is I was wanting to do all along, and that was find great deals, put them under contract, and be able to wholesale them. I primarily wholesale, although I've gotten into some bits of fix and flip, buy and hold now. But when I started, I primarily was wholesaling. I still do the wholesaling. And again, PIN allows me to find all of my off-market deals, and not only find them, but be able to filter specific type of deals, vacant properties, pre-foreclosures, probates, you name it. I can find it all right here. And I mean, I can go on and on, Craig. Would you like me to?
No, you don't have to. We get the picture. Actually, I would be curious,
Okay.
Stephanie, thank you for sharing. Stephanie, so
Yeah.
you're using PIN as well. What is it that you like about PIN? Sort of what are you bringing to the table tonight for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, with PIN for me, I like the fact that you can pull a large list of data. So if you're having a virtual assistant call, I need 10,000 leads, I can come into here, I can pull a huge list of data that fits what my parameters are. So if my parameters in PIN specifically are going to probably be that absentee vacant, right? So looking for a tired landlord, I'm looking for 30% more equity. I can control for all of that, right? I'm looking for homeowners, I'm looking for single family homes, etc. So that's one aspect of PIN I really like. The other aspect of PIN that I really enjoy and use quite frequently now is checking just the mortgage balance. So when I'm going in to submit my offer, I know if this is a realistic deal that's going to move forward as a wholesale deal, or this needs to be looked at more of in a creative financing light, right? And it allows you to come in better prepared, and also allows you to say how much time you're going to spend on that deal. If I know that they aren't going to be able to give it to me and I'm only going to wholesale this deal, I have no interest in the subject to, then I can probably just move on from this lead.
Yeah, I love that. And Stephanie said something that we'll touch on in being able to access the mortgage information, knowing if there's a balance, if they owe any money on it. Like if you don't have this kind of data, then you're going to be guessing, right? So Jenny, as a fix and flipper and doing the auction, what is it about PIN that you like?
So for me, it's not necessarily about volume. So I don't need tens of thousands of leads. I'm the end buyer. So I only need a handful of properties a year for us to basically, meet the goal that we want to achieve every year. So I'm pretty specific, and I definitely target pre-foreclosure properties. So PIN has been tremendous to add value there. And I do a lot of auction properties, but even if I'm going to do auction properties, I'm jumping back into PIN to skip trace the owner's information, because if I can preempt the auction from taking place, and if I can work with the owner and make it more of a win-win type scenario so they don't lose their home to auction, that is the best case scenario. If not, I will still go buy their property at auction. But if I can circumvent that, I will absolutely try and go in the back door first, and PIN is fantastic for that.
Yeah, I love that. So you see what we have here is we have three different investors that are doing three different things, yet they're all using the same tool. Now they have other pieces and resources that they work with, but they're all using PIN in a way that works for them. And so PIN really can meet you sort of anywhere that you are when it comes to your business. So if there's volume or specificity, or heck, you're brand new and just trying to break in, there is absolutely something for everybody here. So what are we looking at when we're looking at this this screen here? So this is a PowerPoint. I am going to go into PIN here live in just a second, but I want to give you a quick orientation. I know there's a lot of twos that have it, but for the ones that haven't seen it or kind of new to it, this is what we call our easy mode or our map mode. And the idea is that you'll know you're there when you see the little home button in the top. This is the map mode, the easy mode, the home button. Over here, we have the alerts. We've got the resources, which is the success center. This is actually an old slide and I haven't updated it. This now says success. We have the save prospects, the workroom, and then we have the advanced option over here at the end. For the initial part, let's just look at the easy mode, all right? So when you're using PIN, there's a few things that you have to do. The first thing you got to do is choose an area of interest. So Dana, where are you? You're in Charlotte?
I'm in Charlotte. And
Right.
so I'm looking anywhere in Charlotte and the surrounding areas.
Beautiful. Jenny, where do you primarily look?
I look across the entire US, so I don't really have anywhere overly specific, but I'm in Canton, Georgia now, so you better believe I'm looking at other properties in Georgia. I'm like, as long as I'm here, maybe I'll pick up another. We'll see.
Exactly. And you, Stephanie, when you're using PIN, how do you do your searching? Do you do it by a specific area? Are you all over the place?
Yeah, so I focus in Colorado. So I'm in the whole Front Range of Colorado, Tampa, Orlando, Southwest Florida.
Yeah, love it. Awesome. Beautiful. So wherever you are in the country, that's the first place you want to start. Now, should they start anywhere or in their backyard? What are your thoughts about that, Jenny?
I personally believe that you should start in your own backyard, right? You're familiar with that area. You're familiar with the demographics, the economics, all of it. So you know the local parks and communities. So when you're trying to connect with that homeowner, it makes that conversation that much easier because you are being very authentic, right? You do know that area, you do know the neighborhood, you would love to, work with them on their property because you love the house, you love the street. So to me, it's just a very easy commonality and familiarity. So that's what I highly suggest, is that's where you start for sake of ease. And then by all means, broaden your horizons.
Branch out, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the idea is it doesn't matter if you're local, if you're doing it nationwide, if you're relatively new, might make sense to stay locally. If you've been doing it a while, if you're a little more seasoned and you want to expand, Stephanie's all over the country. Jenny literally is all over the country, and Dana is now very, very like amazingly starting to branch out and just continuing to crush it. So, so the way that we use PIN is the first thing we do is we choose an area of interest, and so you'll just go into the little filter area and you'll type in a city. You can type in a zip code, you can type in a county, or you can type in a specific address. One of the cool things about the address is if you have PIN, type in your own address and see what shows up to see the accuracy of the data. I know a lot of folks are asking questions about, equity information and accuracy and all of that. What I will say is the data is coming from the public record. So we're as accurate as the data that we're able to access. So if you're familiar with the First American, we're one of the largest title companies in the country. We might be the largest title company in the country, and we have records for property going back hundreds of years, well, over 100 years. And so there's data, and what we're doing is we're accessing that public data and we're making it as fresh and available as possible. The data updates all the time. So every day there's some kind of update going on in the data. There's not data updating in every area every day, but every day there is data that gets updated. So hope that answers your question. So, a lot of questions about, and I want to try to stay on track, but I'm seeing the questions. For instance, he said, is the mortgage info current or the amount recorded from property purchase? Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. So what happens is based on when the property was bought, the mortgage amount, the interest rate, known public information, it's probably not exact in every single case, but it's a very good estimate. What's been your experience, ladies, when you've sort of connected with the mortgage amounts that you've seen? Spot
Greg,
on, not on?
I would totally concur. You're usually within a few $1,000s. I've come to find out with the mortgage information. And then when to Craig's point, when they do record that, those numbers are correct. So whatever they purchased the property for, that is, public data. And so that's what gets recorded. And that's what's showing. So I haven't seen a whole lot of discrepancy with that personally.
Yeah, great.
Same here.
Yeah, I think that's some of the best data that you guys provide, honestly. The other stuff is a little bit more subjective and it's a little bit more varied. It's all good, right? But the mortgage information, the title information that's pulled, those everything reports, that's really special. And I think it makes, just to like touch on another question about PropStream, et cetera. I think it's what sets PIN apart from some of those, right? The comprehensive data. You need to know how to read it. But if you can, then it's there at your fingertips.
Yeah. And as far as, go ahead, Dana, go ahead.
And what's more important, well, it is equally as important, is you're going to find out even more information when you have that conversation with the seller. And so while there may be some discrepancies, the data is really good, but you're going to, really find out when you have a conversation with the seller.
Yeah. I think it's important to understand that the data it's all generated by humans. So there's a human element to it. And while the data is really good, you still have to confirm it, right? Even if you believe that it to be right and true, you still want to confirm it all. So great question. What I would say is reach out. You're getting a free skip trace. It's part of your package. Reach out, ask them, hey, have you ever considered selling? It's not a waste of your time. What's a waste of your time is to overanalyze every single property and then reach out to them. I would say get a good sense of what's going on, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the upcoming sessions, how to approach it. But for now, we're just going to focus on how to use PIN. So we have the easy mode and a couple of things that you want to be aware of. And I don't think there's any little arrows here. There might be some arrows. No, okay, good. So we have the property deal types, which is actually there is an arrow. So here's our address, or our city, or our county, or our zip code. And then we have the ability to do an even really quicker search on what we call the property deal type. The property deal type is the situation that the property is currently in. So the property could be vacant. The property could be in probate. The property could be a pre-foreclosure. We're not looking necessarily at the person, we're looking at the property. The property is literally the doorway to the person though. Without the property, you don't know who the person is. So we start with the property and then we get you the skip trace and then you reach out to them. So we start off with what we call the property deal type. So, Dana, when you first started, what was your favorite property deal type? What did you use the most?
Oh, vacant. Still to this day, vacant absentee owners. Of course, I've done deals with every one of these deal
Sure.
types. Vacant absentee owners has really been our bread and butter.
Yeah, exactly. And Jay, we don't have any properties in Canada, so not at this time. Although we do have Canadian folks that are doing deals in the
That's
United
right.
States. So, yeah, awesome. All right. And if you gals want to pay attention, can you see the questions at all? Do you have access to the questions in the panel? If you can, maybe answer them if you have an opportunity.
Yeah, there's one that I saw that came in about probate. Can you actually lock up a deal that's going through probate?
Answer it.
And
Yeah.
that's obviously my bread and butter. So the majority of my deals are probate deals. And you absolutely can lock up a deal as it's going through. There does need to be the executor or the executor or the PR, which is the personal representative, or the trustee. So it just depends on what type of what state you're in and who needs to be assigned. But you do need to have someone that's basically the human entity for the estate that's been assigned, because that's the person that needs to actually sign the contract, right? So a company, an estate, and a trust can't sign a contract, but a person can. So if that person has been assigned and has the necessary paperwork saying that they can make decisions on behalf of the estate, they can absolutely sign your contract. Furthermore, those one of the best motivations out there are the estate deals. So even though they are maybe still going through it, and not all real estate agents or people realize that they can sell in probate. So you sometimes have to advocate for yourself and explain the process, right? And a title company is another really good resource, or an attorney that you could provide to them so that they understand. So you can always sign a contract, but ultimately it's going to have to go through title or through the attorney, the closing attorney, and they're going to make sure that all the ducks are in the row to make sure it can close. So great question.
Yeah, thank you for that answer.
Great
Awesome.
answer.
Y'all didn't know you were going to get probate questions answered tonight, so we're doing our best. There's a lot of questions that we're going to not be answering because they're not relevant, and I apologize for that. Please don't take it personally. There's just some that aren't that we're just going to be unable to answer. So as we continue to move forward, so we're looking at this slide here. So the idea is that you pick your area of interest and then you pick your deal type. But what it really looks like, though, is this. So once you've opened up the filter sets, now you have the ability to expand them all or collapse them all. You have the deal type, which are vacant, pre-foreclosure, HOA liens, zombie properties, etc. And we have the motivation status. This is always checked. A property that has one of these types of situations is considered a motivated lead. Whether the owner is motivated or not, that's part of your job, is to go find out. But we're not going to be putting up a motivated lead that's an MLS listing. That's not a property that's likely going to be sold at a discount. So it's automatically always chosen as motivation status. Then we have the property type, whether that's the residential, the multifamily, the apartment complexes, we also have land, we have mobile home parks, we have other property types in the advanced mode that we'll look at as well. Then we have the type of ownership. This is a really important one. This is where you would get your absentee owner. So if you're looking for vacant, out of town, out of state, that's an absentee owner. That's sort of the bread and butter that Danny was talking about. But then we also have, some folks don't want to talk to companies that own properties. Although I would say if I'm a small business and I'm an LLC, I'm going to show up as a company, and maybe you're not going to see. And maybe I'm a landlord and I own a bunch of properties and I'm burnt out. And if you called me, I might be interested. So you can exclude company owned, but I wouldn't necessarily do it. And then another one that we like is years owned. As a wholesaler, someone that's just bought the property, probably not likely to sell it. But after 3 or 4 years, now they're probably thinking about it. Maybe they're more open to the idea. So we like that years own ownership. And then we have some activities. So, some previously saved prospects, unviewed, etc. I just tell folks to play with it. Then the rest of this page is we have something called the property grade. Property grade is not a label for how great a property is. It's just a label for where it falls in the equity guidelines. So 50% or more is an A, 40 to 49 is B, etc. You can also look for property based on the value range, the size of the property. You can also look to see if there's any previous motivations, whether that was a pre-foreclosure or, an HOA lien or something like that. That's available. And then the last one is the repair level. And there is a slide that I'm going to show you guys where we talk a little bit more about this. Then once you've picked all your choices, you hit the search. Now, I'm going to share with you property grade real quickly, just so you get a visual. This is what the property grade looks like. So A is 50 to plus. You can read it. I don't have to read it to you. I just want you to see it. Take a picture of it if you want to. And the idea is when you're doing a search, Jenny, how important is property grade for you?
So to be honest with you, I actually don't care what the property grade is, but
Why
I
is that?
like to be aware of what it is because
Sure.
how I approach my offer and how I run my numbers very much is determined off of the equity in that home. And so the property grade is telling me if there's a lot of equity in the home, I know I can go in with a lower cash offer and they're going to be that much more likely able to accept that offer. But if they don't have a lot of equity and they still have a huge mortgage out on that property, that I'm like, oh, okay, great. This sounds like a creative finance type deal. Maybe I could throw out a possible subject too
Right.
on that deal. So I don't care again what the equity level is. I just approach my offer a little bit differently, or I'll give them a twofold offer. Here's offer A, all cash. Here's offer B. Let's talk creative finance. So that's how I look at the property grade.
Yeah, I love that. How about you, Stephanie? Property grade, is that important to you? The equity level?
Yeah, I mean, because my strategy is primarily fix and flipping or wholesaling, so that does matter to me because that's the majority of the deals I do, right? So if it's not that, it's not that it's not an interesting deal, it just doesn't fit my usual like a more narrow buy box for a wholesaler or flip, right? So it would have to be like an unbelievable deal that I'd be willing to do a sub 2 on and be personally involved in. But I do a lot of volume with deals, and so I'm very rarely involved, so they need to have a lot of equity because I can move them on to someone else.
Very cool. Love it. Awesome. Good. So we got that one done. And then here's the repair level. A lot of folks are asking about the rehab effort. Now, there is a question, where does the data come from? So every county reports data the way that they report. I know that's not the answer. The answer is every state is either full disclosure or non-disclosure. And the idea is that we're accessing the county records. So we're not going to the county and writing down. We're using it all electronically. It's all done electronically these days. And so what we're doing is we're just capturing that data. Exactly how we do that, I don't physically know how we do it, but we're getting it whenever it's updated. We're updating it on our end. Now, the rehab effort is going to be a score that you're going to see on the property card. And the idea behind the rehab effort is if you are unable to physically look at a property, how beneficial was it for you, Dana, to be able to know to some degree of accuracy the repair level when you were talking about the property for the first time?
It was vital. Having this information, being armed with it before I went into a property, gave me an inside view, so to speak, as to what needed to be done with that property. And because I was brand new, having that information again gave me the insight to be able to make my offer to subtract my rehab effort from my ARV and henceforth. But I'm so sorry.
No, it's perfect. You did great. No,
I'm a little tired, guys. Please forgive.
No, it's good. No, the reason that we have
it was a starting point for me.
Yeah.
And so being able to walk in and have those numbers gave me the ability to make a maximum allowable offer whenever I viewed a property.
Yeah. And so the idea is that it's really looking at the appraiser's approach when it comes to repair. So what we're saying is there's going to be a range, and the range is 0 to 10. So a 0 to 3 is going to be a very minor repair effort, like lipstick on a pig kind of thing. So we're looking at $15 to $20 a square foot. When you see 4 to 6, it's really talking about $30 to $40 a square foot, and that's things like paint and what would you call a medium one, Jenny, as the rehab expert? What falls in that sort of 4 to 6 range for repair?
I would say medium from 4 to 6. You're probably talking about paint, flooring, and just some of the basics. Maybe you need to redo some cabinetry. Maybe you could just touch up some paint on the vanities in the bathrooms. Maybe doing some tile surround on the tubs and things like that. But 4 to 6 is kind of that medium range, and then the 7 to 10 would be something if you've got like some major repairs. Is there foundation issues? Does the roof need to be replaced? Roof is a big ticket item, right? Yeah. You've got roof, you've got HVAC, you've got windows. and you've got foundation. So some of those bigger ticket items, that's definitely going to push you up into that 7 to 10 rehab effort category.
Yeah. And so the idea is that, again, the data is as good as the data that's been entered, right? So what we're saying is, based on what we know, based on the public record, based on the age of the property, all of the sort of known things that are known about a property, we're saying that this property is going to fall in this rehab effort area. Now, does that mean that every time somebody does a rehab in their home, they're going to report it? No, of course not. We know that. I know that
Oh,
Jenny's kind of
no.
smirking right now, where like they built extra rooms on houses, and it's like, wait a minute, this wasn't a room. What is this? So the idea is that it's as good as the data, but it's better than not knowing anything. So the confidence level to be able to say, okay, well, it looks like this is probably going to be about a medium repair. When I'm making an offer and I haven't had the ability to physically go out, I'm going to use the range. And then I'm going to say, well, once I look at it, I may need to adjust, but sight unseen, this is my offer. And so that's the power of what PIN is doing. It's not just a pretty interface. It's all of that extra sort of stuff that you don't even think about. Never knowing what that repair effort is, never really knowing if they had equity in the property or not. These are really important things, whether you've been doing this for 1 day or for 10 years. This is really important information. So thank you for letting me share that with you. All right, cool. Now, in PIN, we have what's called a property card. And we're going to dive into the property card really deep on another conversation. But in order to open up a property card, you simply click it. Then we have the ability to look at property through what's called the list view. Now, when you're doing a big list of properties, maybe you've got 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000 like Stephanie, you don't really want to look at property cards. What you'd rather have is a list. And so we've got the table view. And the way that you access it is by hitting the little lines, little green lines here, and then it's going to open up. And then you'll see it looks like this. The screen change. There we go. Then you have the ability of editing the columns. So any of these headers, property address, note, motivation, etc., you can edit those columns. And then you can also take this data and you can export it. So what you do is there's a little box right here in the top left-hand corner. When you click it, it's going to select all of the property. Then what you're going to do is you're going to hit export all files. When you hit export all files, you're going to get a dialog box that opens up. The box will give it a name. Now you have two options. There's export the property data and export property and contact data. If you don't skip trace or you just want to pull the record as is, then do export property data. If you'd like to find the contact information, you need to do a skip trace. So then you'd select the export property and contact data option. And then you'll have your list, a running total of how many skip traces you have. You also, this actually doesn't exist anymore, this box. We got rid of that. It automatically does it in the background. And then you hit it. Then what happens is you'll get a little dialog box. And when it's ready, you can just simply download it. When you download it, it comes up as a CSV file with Excel, Google Sheets, or I always forget how to say it. Is it Mac numbers or what is it? Mac numbers? It's Mac numbers. Yeah, I'm old school. I'm almost a boomer, and so I don't know much about Apple. I admit it. Anyway, all right, good stuff. Anybody want to comment on that? How easy it is, or anything? I mean, it's pretty straightforward and self-explanatory.
Totally straightforward. The only thing I'll add is I don't ever use the upper green export property data. I always do the one that says it'll take up to 48 hours.
Oh,
I want as much data as I possibly want. And for the record, even if you're doing hundreds and hundreds of records, it usually only takes a few minutes, maybe up to an hour or two. They just want to make sure that they cover themselves, but I don't waste my time. Give me as much information as you possibly can find.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that. It reminds me. So when you do a skip trace, you're going to get up to 5 phone numbers, 5 cell phone numbers. You're going to get up to 5 email addresses. If they have a LinkedIn profile and we're able to connect to it, you'll get a LinkedIn profile. If they have any data about them, any of their titles, you're going to get that information. So there's a lot of really cool data that PIN can pull in when you do that skip trace. So thanks for mentioning that, Jen. Good reminder. Awesome. And then the downloads themselves, it'll download as a CSV file. Just a quick where it is. If you're on I guess this is Microsoft Edge, you're looking for the downloads. On Google Chrome, you're looking for the downloads. and in Safari, it's the go and then download. So that's where this file automatically gets popped when you do the download. Awesome. And then there's one more thing I want to share, then we're going to jump into Pin Live. So there's a tool that we have that helps you, and Dana talks about this one quite a bit. It's a tool that allows you to look at transactions, real estate transactions historically in a given area. So say I'm looking in this little pin right here, this little orange one. What this is showing me is it's showing me any listed, sold, recent sales, flips, and any rentals. There's also another one that we just added recently. It's short-term rental data.
Right.
And so the idea is that all of these are pins and there's information behind each one. So what you do is you choose what you want. You have to make sure that you're using that little hamburger guy down there. That's what it's called. And then what will happen is each one of these pins has information about that property. Sorry, Dana, how do you use this? How does it help you when you're going through the process?
So it's funny, you should ask, because I was just on here today with the student, and she was concerned about whether or not she should invest in a certain area. Well, I don't think there are a lot of sales in that area. And so we went right into the research tool. Let's see what's selling. Are there any recent sales? Are there any sold properties? Are there any flips? And we found every one of those in that little area she was looking in. And so, yes, I use this quite a bit. You can also find this over on the property card as well.
That's right.
You're trying to search for comparables. I usually go right here first, and then I'll go into the map view on the property card and look for every one of these. More importantly for me, the recent sold and the sold when I'm doing comparables. Yeah. So I love this research tool. So when they came out with this was a game changer for me. Yeah. To be able to find those comparables quickly.
I love that. I love that. And we're going to go live in Pin here in just a second. So I'll show you that property card. And just as a reminder, if you joined a little bit after we started, we are offering a 7-day free trial of the software. You can actually scan that QR code with your telephone. So take a picture of it, or alternately, you can go to connectedinvestors.com/acceleration. So just a reminder. And yeah, let's do this. Let's go into Pin Live for just a second. And I got to remember how to get there. So let me go here and then go to, where is my pin? It's not there right now. It should be this one, but it's not. Nope. Let me do this guy. Yeah, answer a question while I'm figuring it out.
Industrial commercial buildings. Not industrial per se, right? I think it's more like apartment complexes, but it will pull up commercial buildings. So, yes. But there's no way to specifically look for industrial at this point. I don't have the remove phone numbers on DNC list. That's because it's already happening for you in the background. So don't worry about that. It's already being handled.
Here's a good one. When you find a property in a different state, do you have to travel there to walk the property or handle the transaction? Not necessarily, but again, kind of like the attorney, highly recommended. So even if you can't personally be there, I'm going to tell you right now, if you are the end buyer, you need to either send a general contractor on your behalf or hire an inspector. It's going to cost you usually anywhere between $300 and $600 to do so, but it might save you a lot of money on the back end. It will also help with your negotiations. You know exactly what's going on with that property, what's wrong with it. You can get the information right from the inspector. So again, absolutely, you can do business out of state, but I would definitely make sure that you do your due diligence, and that is one of the steps within your due diligence protocol.
I love that, Jen.
We've learned the hard way on a few, huh, Dana?
Oh my gosh, we have. You know, I just recently closed on one in Texas, and we had to do the same thing. We had an inspector out there, but there were a lot of moving pieces, just like the one Jen. We have a lot of moving parts, and Jen usually goes and she is the general contractor, her and her husband. And so we have the opportunity of her going to walk these properties, but we still run into issues. We still run into challenges. You know, sometimes you're not going to catch everything, but it's so important to have somebody get eyes on whatever property you're dealing with.
Yeah. And that's so true. All right, so what we're going to do is let's go ahead and sign into PIN. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and I'm going to show you a few things. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to go back to the slides at this point in time. I'm going to show you an easy mode search, and then I'm going to have Stephanie walk us through an advanced mode search so that we can see how she's using it. So a couple of quick things. So this is the live PIN, and there's a few little changes, like this is no longer called, I don't remember what it was even called now, but it's now Success Center. Of resources, right? So the first thing is, if you want to watch this video again after we're done, I'm going to show you where to find it. So when you click on the Success Center, it's going to bring you to another page, and you're going to go into this fourth option here called Applying PIN to Your Business. When you click on it, you're going to see the document library. And as we're talking over the next several weeks, we're going to be referring to a lot of different documents, the working with motivated sellers, the property inspection cheat sheet, etc. But the first thing we want to do is we want to go to the acceleration. So if we click on the acceleration option, what you're going to see is this isn't the same episode as the one that we did in week 1. Although it's the same topic, this is a different conversation. We're talking about different things, etc. So we have the first 4 weeks as replays that you can go in and watch them anytime you want. So you hit week 1, hit the button, and then just start playing it. It'll work great. And then what will happen is this episode will then be in the February batch. So you'll be able to get these anytime you want. We do a replay on Thursday nights with live chat, though, so just keep that in mind. All right, so let's go back home real quick. Awesome. So an easy mode search, really simple. All we do is we pick an area. So where do we want to go? Somebody give me an area.
Denver?
Anybody?
Or someone
Denver.
in the chat?
No, you. That's fine. Denver.
No,
awesome.
you.
So Denver. Okay, we're going to go Denver, Colorado. So do I need to do anything else to look for an area of interest right now?
No,
Nope.
it's
No.
Can I
populated.
put more than one in right now at this point in time with this search? Can I do more than one area?
No,
Not
Where
an
can I
easy
do
mode.
that?
not
Advanced.
in the
Exactly.
advanced mode.
Beautiful.
Not,
All right.
yeah.
So what I did was I typed in Denver, Colorado. Bless you. And
Bless you.
it showed me 8,811 properties. Now, keep in mind,
Stuff.
that does not mean that there's 8,811 properties that are for sale today. That means that there's 8,811 leads. These properties at some point, could have been yesterday, could be today, could have been a month ago. These properties fit the bill. They fit a very specific description that investors like. If a property is on the MLS, investors don't like them. Now, they don't hate them, they're just not the best deals. So what we're doing is we're showing you off-market property. Now, some of these might actually be listed and the data just hasn't caught up yet. If that's the case, that's all right. That means that property is for sale. So the idea is that your job is now to go in and start analyzing and start looking at these properties to figure out which ones you want to reach out to. So from a very simple standpoint, as you saw earlier, I can do an area of interest and then I can do a property deal type. I could say, I just want to see all the vacant property in Denver. Well, right now there's 3,042 that are listed. There's 353 probate, etc. We also have one little filter that I love in the easy mode. It's called the multi. And what it is it's going to take any property that has more than one kind of motivation and it's going to populate. We don't know what the motivation is. It's only the kind that has more than one. We can also double stack that in the advanced mode. But what we do is we'll just go ahead and click the vacant. And this is the simplest search. So now I'm looking at all of the property. So to skip ahead to one thing, because at this point, I want to be reminded, I want to know whenever there's any vacant property in Denver. I probably care the area, but I really just want to know, when does new property show up? So what I'm going to do is I did a little search for Denver, and then I did a search for the vacant. Now, all I simply have to do is hit this add alert button. And when I do that, it's going to create a new alert. And what's going to happen is anytime new data shows up in the Denver vacant area in my search, I'm going to be alerted. And then what happens is I'll get an alert. I can click on the alert. I'll see all of the new property. It'll be clearly listed. And I'll go to my alert bell right here. This is a brand new one that I just did today. So this one here, this Denver one, I can hit list view. Here's all of my property. So it's really, really easy to add the alert. Anytime any new data shows up, this is what it's going to look like. So if I go back here and I go to an alert that I haven't touched, let's go to this one, and I hit list view, you're going to see all of the new property clearly listed.
And it tells you it's new.
And it tells you it's new. And you also have the ability to do an export and exclude the ones that you had already previously exported. So it's very cool in that respect. But now I've got these properties that I want to work with because these are all the new ones. So that's how the alert works. Go ahead, Dana.
I just want to add, if I know Steph loves these large lists. I'm the opposite. I like smaller bite-sized lists. And so whenever I create my list, if I need to whittle that down some, I'm going to add some more filters into my list so that I can put it down and get my exports that are smaller than Steph's. I don't have as big of a company. And so it's mainly me working on these leads and going out and seeing the properties. And I don't want to inundate myself with too many leads. I want these leads calling me, yes, or me being able to reach out to them, but I don't want to do a disservice to myself or to the people I'm trying to help. And so my lists are a little bit more bite-sized, and you can go into your filter to be able to whittle down those lists some.
Yeah, in fact, I'll show you how to do it right now. It's super duper easy. You can do a filtered search up front where you do a bunch of filters. You can also just do a general search and then edit that filter. So for instance, in this alert, I can edit the alert. And what I'll do is I'm going to add some additional motivation. So we're going to add residential and multifamily. We also have apartment complex and commercial property. Now, the commercial property is not typically buildings in downtown Chicago. It's usually like dual usage kind of properties, laundromats, strip mall kind of stuff, when that data shows up. It's not always there. You do see a lot of it in like apartment complexes. You'll see a lot of them that are listed as commercial as a complex. Those are like the really big ones, and we have a lot of those. You can also then here choose the out of town, out of state option. You could also, exclude the previously exported ones, any that have been unviewed. We can choose a property grade here. A, B, and C would be perfect because that's going to be 30% or more equity. As far as the value range, not too worried about it. Square footage is irrelevant to me. And then financial motivations. Here's a cool thing about our filters. If you choose a filter, you'll only see that filter. If you choose both filters, you'll see both filters. If you choose neither filter, you'll see both filters. So it's never going to, so if you choose them, it's going to show them to you. If you don't choose them, it's still going to show it to you because the data is there. I know that sounds weird, but that's the way we do it. And then you can also choose that repair level if you're specifically looking for maybe a quick flip where there's not a lot of work. Maybe you need a little lipstick on a pig. Then what we do is we can hit save alert. So what's going to happen now is this alert has been edited to include all of those new filters. So now we've got residential, multifamily, out of town, out of state, A, B, C, etc. Now, anytime there's new data, you're gonna get an email that's gonna let you know. How cool is that? I love that. I actually love it when I get that alert that says, "Hey, I've got new property." How do you like it, Steph? Yeah, I love that.
Great.
You don't even need to say words.
I don't use the alerts honestly, though. I just export.
Okay. Well, you're pulling so much data that you don't give it a chance to alert, do you?
No, I just go in and export data. Yeah, so that's how I'm using it.
Fair enough. Awesome.
I do use the alerts, and that's on Mondays I check my alerts and then export those lists into Print Genie for our postcards. And so by Thursday, they're going out. So that's how you can use this, your alerts.
Yeah, I love it. And they're super easy to set up. And then if you don't want it anymore, if you just want to
That's
get
right.
rid of it, boom, just hit the garbage can and delete it. Super duper easy. You can't, and you can only create alert in the easy mode. You cannot create an alert in the advanced. We did it on purpose. Keep it really broad and simple up front, and then you can create additional filters on the backside. So those are the alerts. And that was actually a search. So you can do the search and then create the alert at the same time. You can also do a search and create a save search. So it would be the same idea where you can just pull that save search up again. I will show you a property card, but I'm not going to get too deep into one because I want to show you the skip trace that's on it, even though we do talk about that. So when you click on the property card, there's a few things. If you're new to PIN, you're gonna love this. You get all these different views. You get the photos, you get the map, you get the street, so you can see what's going on around the property, and then you get the satellite view, so you get that up above shot. So very cool. You also can bring this whole property card into a brand new page by opening up what's called the property page. Every property has its own unique ID and its own unique web page. But it's this property card with a little bit of information. So a few things that we've talked about. We talked a little bit about mortgage information. So we know that this property here has a mortgage. It was relatively recently. What is this property? This is a vacant property. It's probably a second home would be my guess. Not really sure. Recently, estimated expenses. This is where our rehab effort is. This one's a 0 of 10. Looks like it might not need a lot of work if it's recently been redone. I don't know if it's this one or this one here, but these have all been recently redone. You can tell they're pretty cute little properties. So you got your mortgage information, your estimated expenses. Stephanie alluded to the everything report, which we're going to look at again on one of our other sessions, but this is a report that gets generated right on the fly. It will give you information. It's like it's safe to call it a preliminary title report. We're okay to call it something like that because it does give us that
That's what
information.
Jen calls it.
That's right. It's all you, Jenny. And so this everything report it's going to give you information about this property and the owner. I call it the rap sheet of the property because it gives you the details, the history of the property. Usually takes anywhere from about 20 to 40 seconds for that property report to create. And we can see that the data is fresh since January 31st. So it's just about a week and a half that the data was updated. And on this, we get everything we need. So we get the address, our market information, if there's any active foreclosures on it, property details, any open liens, loan history, if that information's available, when it was sold, it was recently sold, Swan Song, yeah, it was a flip is basically what happened. So this guy just recently bought it. It probably wasn't listed, it was probably listed as vacant because nobody was living there, and now that the person's recently moved in, that information will change shortly. But tax information, and then we have some basic comparables, but we also have another report called the comp report, which is a little more defined. And I'm getting a slight error message because I think I might have clicked the button a little too fast. Yeah, sometimes there's no data from a comp standpoint. When that happens, not a big deal. Then we also have the owner profile information. This is great. We have the ability to skip trace from this card if it's there. There isn't an option to skip trace this one on the card. Not sure exactly why, but that's okay. We can do a couple of online searches. This is the fast people search and the white pages. Yeah, it's white pages. So that's the property card. And then this is the other thing that Dana was talking about. The market research tool this is our target property right here, this little green dot. If I wanted to see what was sold recently, I'm going to get a listing. There's 161 properties. They're all listed right here over the last year or so. And what it's going to do is it's going to show me, hopefully, all those properties that are there. Like, where can you find this data this quickly? I mean, except for going to like Zillow and then being completely sidetracked, right? I love the fact that I can quickly go in, well, and I even grabbed the specific property.
That's right.
How quick that was. Then I do this, I can go to this one here and say, oh, let me look at this property. Boom. So it's really slick the way that it does that. And I can analyze and look at all of these different properties, see what this market looks like, and I can get even closer by doing the plus button. So this will bring me even closer to my target property. So that's the on the property card. And then there's information about the market as we go down. Awesome. So easy mode, that's the search. Let's do an advanced search. Stephanie, I'm going to ask you to join me on this one. So what I want to do is when you're doing the advanced search, it's important to understand that it's not that it's more difficult or more challenging. It's not algebra 1 and algebra 2. It's just the way that you can filter. The easy mode is really just some very basic filters. With the advanced mode, you can get super duper granular. There's very specific things. You can choose custom ranges. You can double stack. You can look for multiple locations, multiple motivations. And so it just has some more ability to it. That's why we call it advanced. But don't be afraid of it, okay? It's very, very user-friendly. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to choose a location. Now, these 4 things, person, company, investor, and owner, they're automatically chosen. So we're just going to leave them. So let's do this, Steph. Where are we going to look? And let's just do a search.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is lucky, guys. This is an exclusive search. This is good. So make sure you're taking notes.
Seriously.
So we're going to start with, but truly, so this is a county. I like to start with counties. I think it's a wider range rather than a city or a zip code, right? That's a little bit too segmented for me. So I'm going to put county. Let's do Denver County.
So we start typing, let it populate, and then select it. Do we want to do another one?
No.
We could. That's
All right,
cool.
fine. We'll do another
We don't
one.
have to,
We'll do
but we could. We can't do this in easy mode. What's the other one? I'm sorry.
You want to show, all of its capabilities, Steph.
Yeah.
Go for it, girl.
I'm sorry. I'm just leaving too much on the table.
I
All right.
apologize. What was it? Other county?
Jefferson County.
Jefferson County. Perfect. And so then Jefferson County, wait for it to populate and grab it. Boom.
Great.
So now we've got Denver and Jefferson. Love it. You can also do a search by a radius. That's one little caveat. So if you had a specific address and you, I actually work with a gentleman who loves this. It's one of his favorite things. He'll pick an address and say, I want to go 20 miles around this address. And then he drives for dollars all over the place. It's the craziest thing.
Wow.
Yeah. That's one option. So then we got the location. Now I'm going to expand them all by choosing this option here. This is your first set of filters. So
all right, so we're going to go to single family, and we're actually going to get pretty granular. I'm only going to look at houses. I don't want to look at condos, townhomes, or mobile homes. Then I'm going to go over to owned by, right? So you can keep it open, but I actually don't want to talk to any companies or investors. I actually just want, Sally Sue that lives next door. I just want to talk to Sally. So that's the person, okay? Then I'm going to go to listing status. I only want to see off market. I'm not interested in the MLS. I own a brokerage. I don't need to see the MLS. So I'm looking at I'm looking at not listed on the MLS and expired listings. Let's see. And is there another one above it that says expired listing not listed on MLS?
It's expired listing not listed on MLS.
Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. It was just I get it. It was lining up next to each other. Okay. So motivation, then we're going to do vacant and we're going to do absentee owner. And we're going to stack the motivations because I want it to be both. So this is kind of like a function, right? So it's and or, right? In this case, I want it to be vacant and an absentee owner or someone that's living out of that doesn't live at the property, right? If I were to keep it unstacked, then it would be vacant or an absentee owner, meaning there would be many more results, but it would be either motivation. So I want to have both though, because I want to keep my search results a little bit more specific. And you can see there where it kind of tells you what I just said.
Yeah, that's right.
Previous activity. For me, I think this is a quintessential, extremely important part of the search mode. I'm always including previously exported properties, because if I have exported the properties out of the system, that means I've gone through them, I've touched them, I've mailed them, I've called them, I've done something with them, right? So that's how I keep myself on track. Perhaps you work within PIN and you actually want to take unviewed properties. It allows you to go that granular. But again, for me in my business, I do exclude previously exported. And that is me touching all of this part, this location and type piece, right? So now we're going to go, there's tons of filters. We're going to keep going to ownership. I'm going to look at years owned. That's really the only thing I look at on this section, although I will pull us over here for a second. I'm going to do custom range. So I want to have a custom range. I want them to have owned it for a minimum of 3 years. That feels good for me. The longer someone's owned something, the more equity they have. Again, for my exit strategy of wholesaling or flipping, equity is king. I need to have the equity to get the deal low enough for me to make sense. And in everything else, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care if it's free and clear. I don't care about veterans, or, you know, I do care about veterans, but not in this, you know, this filtering. I will say, and here it's
Good
really
saying.
important. If you want to search by interest rate, that could be really good if you're looking for subject to, so you have the ability here. Again, for me, not important, but really cool if you're interested in subject to, as I know many people are right now, right, with the low interest rates of the past couple of years. Another thing I'd like to point out is the investor type. So if you were to drop all of the other precursors that we just put on in the location and type, except for the location itself, you could actually use investor type to find buyers.
Yes.
So again, a bit of a pivot, but that's something really important that we touch on as well.
I'll show that to you guys tonight if I remember to. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Yep.
So I'm going to keep moseying along here. We're going to go to attributes next. And on here, you know, all of this, so you could get extremely granular. So again, you might get granular with bed bath count. You might be looking at the retail value. You might want to do square footage, etc. If you were looking for yourself, or if you were a wholesaler looking for an institutional buyer that had extremely specific criteria, or if you had connected with a buyer that was looking for something. Otherwise, you're going to want to keep this pretty broad. I'm just looking for equity because I keep mentioning it. It's important to me. I want 30% or higher equity in my deal. I'm going to do a custom range again, and I'm going to hit 30 as the low. So that's all extremely important to me. The only other thing that might be interesting to do is if you're trying to only look for entry-level homes, so you don't want to get high-end homes because they're hard to flip. First of all, they're expensive, or they're hard to wholesale. You might want to put in a retail value or over here parameter. So in Denver, the retail value I'd want to have under is like probably like 850 and under, which is again another custom range. All right. And actually, yeah, we'll keep it at 850. You can probably bump it up for this Denver proper. It could probably be more like $1 million and under, but that will work for now. I don't want to keep it. I want to make sure we have enough results, but I don't think that's going to be a huge player.
Yep. Perfect.
All right, cool.
And then
so that's
there's going to be geography specific stuff. I actually am working with a gentleman who is very cautious about flood zones and whatnot. So if that information is available, it's really good to be able to say, hey, I don't want anything that's in a flood zone. You know, insurance is going to be a challenge, and yeah, it's a nightmare. So that's the granularity of the advanced mode. And here's the cool part: this search took us, because we're talking about it, 6 minutes. But it literally took us about 30 seconds to do the search itself. You pick your parameters, and then what you're going to do is, in this case, we don't need the names or the parcel number information. We're just going to hit search. I don't know what the result's going to be, but we're going to find out right now. And this is how Stephanie does it. Stephanie's very, very busy, very active in her business. This is the kind of search. Folks ask us all the time, hey, what's the best search to do? What do I search? You just saw a search that is generating a massive business right now. So let's keep that in mind.
Yes, I wasn't joking. I told you guys to start taking notes. I talk fast, you know, but the information's good.
That's right.
So once and because it's doing a live search right now, sometimes the search can be so big, and this is just the facts. Sometimes the search is so big, it'll cause the thing to just kind of go, "Bah," and it'll stop. So sometimes you'll have to redo it. We put a lot of filters on this one, put a couple of custom ranges. I know that Denver and Jefferson County have a lot of property. So right now it's literally going through and searching all of those parameters for all of that data. Because it's a software as a service, it's sitting online, sometimes it'll time out. When that happens, it's a pain in the butt. My favorite thing to do would be to save the search and then load it later on. So it's gonna do the thing where it's spinning right now, and that's kind of why I'm saying it. I think it's not because there's too much information, it's because it's a really big area. So we'll see what happens. Was there any questions while we're waiting for that thing? Yeah, so an expired listing is something that was at one point in time on the MLS. It gets listed that way, and that's really good information. Now, here's the thing. If a property is expired, it was up for sale. Somebody wanted to sell it at one point in time. So if it didn't sell on the MLS and it's an expired listing, yeah, it's a big list. It's actually not a big list, but it's a concise list. There's only 89 here. But that's because we put a lot of additional filters and some very specific things.
You said it.
The amount, the max amount probably kept it from, generating even more property, et cetera. But these are 89 properties now that Stephanie is going to reach out to. She's going to either send them a postcard or an email or a letter or do a cold call or something. And she's going to connect with these people. She's not going to analyze every single property to death. She understands that it's a numbers game. So what she wants to do is she just wants to make sure that it's all the right data, all the right information, and then she's going to move forward, whether that's an export for a voicemail or whatever the thing that she's going to do. So,
and I actually won't even look at any of this, quite frankly. I'll never click on one of those. They're not important. The only thing that's important is that the person wants to speak to me and wants to sell their property. That's right. The next thing I do when I generated the list is literally just click what he's clicked here, which is selecting all of these, right? And I move to export because you have to take action. That's the only way this works for you. This is great, but you have to move it elsewhere. So maybe that's going through the list yourself in PIN. Again, that's a totally great option to begin with. And it's a software that allows you to do that and build off of it. But if you like to work in a spreadsheet, that might be a better option for you, right? Moving it out of the platform to work through it.
There we go. And so I'm getting some weird error message right now. I don't really know what that is. Oh yeah, we were having a challenge with the export. There was a little hitch on that, but it'll be figured out very quickly. So the idea is that you're going to export it. Now that data is available, you can download it and do whatever you want with it. Awesome. So that's an advanced search. Now, the difference between the two is just the amount of stacking is ultimately the difference. You can really find the same properties. You can't do an alert in the advanced mode, so that's one other difference. So the easy mode, the advanced mode, Jenny, when you're going through it, which one do you tend to focus on?
I honestly, for the most part, I stay in the easy mode. So when I'm in easy mode, I go to my search, I punch in my pre-foreclosures, I punch in either my city, my county, and kind of like Dana said, if it generates too many, I want to make sure that I'm meeting my target audience. So I usually like to go for, a few hundred properties, and then I just send out rounds of postcards, and I usually do them consecutively for about 3 months. And if they're nearing auction, you better believe I am calling them, I am texting them. Sometimes I'm stalking them. I'm going to their house. I'm knocking on their door. Hey, let me help you. So it just depends, right, what your marketing method is. But mine's simple. I just go into the easy mode and punch in my motivated deal type and rock and roll.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm going to show you one other two other quick things. So if you wanted to, say you found a property that you like and you haven't called them yet, but you want to, but you just haven't, would you, and I think Dana would be best to talk to you about this one. Would you take that property that you've never spoken to and would you put it in your workroom?
No.
Right. Where would you put it?
So I'd put it on a spreadsheet or I'd put it in my saved searches.
Save, okay. Or you could do a save prospect. I was going to share with you, there's two things you can do. So there's a distinction.
Workroom initially was used as sort of like a mini CRM.
Right.
spoken with the seller and found out their motivation, then I'm moving it over to the workroom.
Yeah.
And I can work off of that property card within the workroom, move it around as I see fit, add notes, be able to view everything on it. And from there, once it closes, all of that, it can,
Yep.
you know, go through the stages right in the workroom.
Perfect. So for instance, if I wanted to take this property right here and I wanted to add it to the workroom or save it as a prospect, if I saved it as a prospect, it means that I don't know anything about it. I'm not
That's
just nilly-willy saving prospects all day long. That's not how this works. But if I know, hey, I just don't
I
have the
will.
time to call them, what I would do is I would just simply come up here and I would hit this little heart button. The
Yep.
moment that I hit it, it's now saved to my prospects, which is this little guy right here. Now, if I've already talked to this person, I spoke to, let's see, do we know who owns this one? I don't think we have the mortgage information on this one. Anyway, so I call and I speak to Bob, and Bob's like, yeah, you know, I think I might be interested in selling. All right. I want to add this now to my workroom. This is the thing that Dana was talking about. So all I do is I go up here where it says workroom and I hit plus, and now it says save to the workroom. Now I can go up to my workroom, and here's that property, 2100 Airlie Brook Drive in Wilmington. So it's this one right here. Now, what Dana was talking about was now I can, here's the card, here's all the same information. So I don't have to go back to the, you know, to that first page. I get it all here. And then I can start adding information. I can add details. I can add information. You can see that I moved it. Everything gets timestamped when you move it back and forth. And then you can move this property by just grabbing it and dragging it. I don't know if you can see that as I'm doing it. Yeah, the screen's a little bit delayed. So we can do that anything we want. So that's pretty slick. Now, the last thing that I want to show you is the automation. So now you've got a list of properties and you want to do something where you're automatically pulling the data and you're zapping it. We use a product called Zapier. It's not our product. Think of Zapier as like a bridge. And what it does is it connects our data to the end CRM system. So if you've got a software that requires the data to be sent over, use the Zapier. Really simple. The way that you access it is through the workroom. So you go to the workroom, and then you're looking for this integrations button right here, over in the top left-hand corner. When you click it, it opens up another window, and you have three options. If you feel comfortable and you're good with technology, you can just do it yourself, walk yourself through the process. You just go if you already know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing and you can be, you know, given directions, use the first option. If you know what you're doing, use the second option. We also have another option where if you just say, hey, I don't want to do it, I want someone to do it for me. One of our technicians, a gentleman named Stephen Wolf, will actually do it for you. It's basically you fill out a quick form. He does it, shows you how to do it. It's pretty slick. The idea is that you set it up once and then it will automatically continue to work for you. Are any one of you using any kind of Zapier or anything like that right now?
Definitely. Yep.
How are you
I use
using it
Zapier
now?
all the time. I use it for something different, but when my VAs call my connected investor leads, right, the VAs
Right.
fill out a Google form. The Google form is connected to my Close, which is my CRM system,
Right.
and it zaps over the information that they got from that lead into our CRM system, and then and then there's another zap that sends us a Slack message that alerts us. So it's pretty slick.
Yeah,
Yes.
very cool. And so this automation is really, it's very helpful. What I would say is don't get twisted about it though initially, right? If you're not doing big volume, then it may not make sense. But if you are someone that wants to sort of set it and forget it, I would look into the Zapier because it's something that you could definitely do. Even if it's just 20 or 30 or 40, I'm working with another person who only sends out about 40 or 50 postcards, but they get sent out every week without him even knowing. It's just coming right off of the alert. It gets zapped from the alert. The moment that alert hits, the zap goes out and then the postcards are going out. So it's pretty straightforward how that works. Yeah, so let me do this. That was the end of the demonstration. I wanted to, let me see if I can get back to the PowerPoint this time. No, is that the PowerPoint? Not the PowerPoint, is it? Yeah, that's it right there. Let's see if that'll show up for me. Oh yeah, it was actually there were some slides that I was going to show.
Hello, Arzel.
Oh yes, and was there any questions?
And about coaching, please look at our names, find us on Connected Investors. That's our names right there. Jenny, Stephanie, Dana, full names. Connect with us on the platform. We'd love to chat with you further and help you guide you through PIN and how you can really leverage it to find success in real estate.
Yeah, and because I went back to the PowerPoint slide, I didn't go to the CI marketplace. So, not the marketplace, excuse me, the community. So a lot of folks are saying, hey, how can we talk with Jenny or Dana or Stephanie or myself? What I will tell you is we're not accepting any one-on-one coaching students at this time. We did have some, but we've stopped that. We're at max capacity. So if you are interested in chatting with them, then you want to go to the community and then go to like find friends and just look us up and send us a friend invite and we'll connect with you. So don't hesitate. And you don't even need to be a member to be a part of the community as well. Oh, well, you have to be a member of the community, but you don't have to own PIN in order to do that. But I just wanted to make one last mention of it. We went a little bit over tonight, and I really appreciate Dana and Jenny and Stephanie for sharing and for all of your great questions. One of the things that we will be doing, so that you all know, is we're going to go through all of those questions and be answering them as we can and then be responding. So be on the lookout for that. What I would say is if you don't have PIN, Jenny, what would be the best case to get PIN today? Without trying to sell it, but like what's the best case for getting it? Yeah.
Go to connectedinvestors.com/acceleration. It's
No, I mean, what's the best reason for doing it? Not the
Oh
best.
my gosh, to start your real estate investing career. Like I mean, that's the whole impetus behind it, right? So no matter whether you're a novice, you're experienced, it doesn't really matter, right? PIN has all of the information you can possibly need, it, no matter what level you are at your investing career. So do it.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Dana? Where would you be today without PIN?
Not an investor or a very good one at that, for that matter. But if you are looking to start in real estate investing, then this is where you want to start. This, PIN was a one-stop shop for me. It gave me all of the tools necessary to not only become successful in real estate investing, but other areas as well. I get to help other people do the same today.
Yeah.
And so you definitely, if you're ready to start, there's no reason why you can't start today. Join up, connect with us. We're ready, open, willing to talk to you about the platform, help you out in any way that we can.
Yeah. And Stephanie, what's been the biggest impact for your business since you've been using PIN?
A new lead source, definitely. We get a lot of our leads from agents, right, which is not through direct to seller, but the direct to seller has really opened up my eyes as to, again, just another pillar of my business, right? So why ever rely on one type of lead source? What happens if that were to go away? So this has been transformative for sure.
Yeah.
And then also
thank you for
a question from Rob. Rob did ask, does PIN provide all the contact info? And Rob, you can skip trace through PIN. So they don't provide all of the contact info, but yeah, they provide contact info for you. And that's a very powerful additive that they provide right in platform. It's not everything, and you may have to go off platform, but it is very useful.
Yeah. So when you do a skip trace, Rob, you're going to get the option. Well, you can get up to 5 phone numbers, 5 mobile numbers, 5 email addresses. Also, sort of social media information, like there's LinkedIn data that's provided. So if you're trying to connect with somebody and you get a phone number, but not LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn, right. I'm thinking you could reach out to them that way as well. So yeah, every account comes with skip tracing as part of your package. And right now we're running that trial. So for 7 days, you get to try it. Go to connectedinvestors.com/acceleration or take a picture of that QR code and get yourself signed up. But with that, we're going to go ahead and end the show. I do have one big question. Something that I've always curious about is, what was your takeaway tonight? I know that some of you maybe you're just joining up and you're not really sure, but what was your takeaway? What was the thing that you heard tonight, or something that you saw that was maybe an aha moment, or I didn't know that, or now I know it, or man, I'm glad I saw that kind of a thing. And just lets us know that we're over the target. So if you'll share that with us, we would really appreciate it. And when you say how to find the website, I'm not sure what the questions is. How to find website.
Let's make it simple.
Well, it can be simple. Well,
That's
put it this way.
simple. With
Real
PIN,
estate
it makes it that simple.
not
At least
easy.
it made it for me. And it can be for you if you just get in there, get the software, get in there and play. It can be just that simple, but you have to get started.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, Stephanie, Jenny, Dana, I love working with you all. You're amazing. Thank you for joining me tonight. I speak for everybody when I say thank you for all of your insights and sharing your wisdom about how you're using the software in your business. So we appreciate you. We'll all be back here next Tuesday. We'll be talking about, what is it, deal or no deal. We're going to look at what we've done tonight. So get out there, play with the software. Join us again next Tuesday. If you want to see it again, you can go to the Success Center. You can even watch the replay on Thursday. There'll be a live chat at 7 o'clock Eastern. But until then, ladies, it's been another great session. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you.
Likewise. Thanks, Craig. Good night, you guys.
All right,
Thank
everybody.
you,
so
Fred.
much for
Great night. Thank you so
Jenny.
much. Yep.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I never know how to end it.